Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori and this is Holy City Mystic. So I want to talk to you guys about why I started doing astrology and why I think you should too. So astrology has been a big interest of mine ever since 2011.
2013. I said the wrong thing.
When I first got my very first reading, my knowledge of astrology was to the extent of I knew my sun sign. I did not know there was a moon sign or anything about an ascendant or anything else. I didn't even know that you could see an entire chart in astrology. I didn't know what an astrology chart was. And I went to a friend of a friend's house, and his wife was on the couch, and we were just kind of awkwardly sitting there together because our husbands were best friends and we were just kind of like thrown in together. And as we all know, astrology is an amazing party trick. And so she just kind of did that. She's just like, hey, what's your birthday? Do you know your time of birth? And she pulls up my chart on her phone and she just starts talking to me about it. I was in tears within the first 5 minutes because I felt like she saw me in a way that no one had ever seen me before. My background is in psychology. I grew up in a very religious household. Like, there were all kinds of things that I had the opportunity to identify really well with, but it was like astrology was the lock and the key for that. So I studied, I self-studied, I paid for classes, it was just something I was just so fascinated by. But whenever people would be like, hey, can you look at my chart? I would be like, oh, no, no, no. Well, yeah, I guess I could look at it for like a second, but I'm not an astrologer. I just look at charts sometimes, I'm just self-study. So I went on like that for a decade plus a year of just learning as much as I could, listening to podcasts, reading different astrology books, taking classes when I could. And then one day, January 2022, I was listening to this podcast on the Astrology Hub. The guy's name is Thomas Miller. He actually has like courses you can take and readings you can get from him and a couple of podcasts, I believe. But he was telling his story with astrology, and he made the comment, there are so many people out there in the world who can make a real impact with the knowledge that they have about astrology. However, they never do because they're too afraid of not being adequate. And I was just like, crap, that is me right now. Like, I have so much knowledge about astrology and I'm just not sharing it with anybody because I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel like I'm adequate with everything. So I started out small. I think my readings were like $35 for a full hour on Etsy, and I just kind of left them up there. And then as I had time, as I started to learn more things and become interested in certain topics like yods or retrogrades in a birth chart or anything like that where I would like do a deep dive on it, I started posting videos. And I can still remember my first booking of someone who wasn't a friend or a friend of a friend. It was someone who literally just saw one of my videos and they were just like, I want a reading from you. And I thought I had died and gone to heaven. I was like, I cannot believe that this person is trusting me with their time to tell them what I know about astrology. So at this point in the game, I am getting readings all the time. It is so much fun to talk to people and look at their charts and share what I know, share what I believe about different things. But one thing that keeps coming up for me are people who were just like me a couple years ago, where they have been studying astrology for 10 years, 5 years. It's all they think about. It's all they do. They have all these apps on their phones and all their podcasts are astrology podcasts and everything. And it's like they have so much knowledge about this. But I'm like, well, do you do readings? They're like, no. I don't know. I'll leave that up to everybody else. Now, I will say, if you're not comfortable doing readings because you don't like talking to people or it just sounds like a not fun situation, that's totally fine. I'm not judging you for it. But if you feel like you would like to do readings, you just don't feel like you're enough yet, you are. And the world needs you. Now, one thing that I think is very important is we all have a personality that we connect to. So someone might get a reading from me and they're just like, yeah, she was good, but we just didn't click. Like, we didn't have that chemistry together. But somebody getting a reading from you is going to be like, man, like, she explained things in a way that was so easy for me to comprehend. Or he broke down my chart in a way that was just so on point, so specific. Another thing is when you learn so much, whether it's through self-study or classes or books, whatever it is, you develop these relationships with the planets. So my relationship with Neptune is going to be completely different from your relationship with Neptune. The qualities of Neptune have not changed. They're still the same. Neptune is Neptune. But if I am able to talk about my relationship with it, it might connect to a certain type of person. However, your relationship with Neptune is going to be a little bit different than mine, and that might connect to other people. And so it's like, when it comes to astrology, don't just think about, okay, I have to be the best, I have to be 100% accurate, like the accuracy thing. Astrology is magic, I tell you what. Like, if you are saying things to a person and they're like, wow, this is an absolutely amazing reading, this is exactly what I need to hear right now, and then 6 weeks down the road, you realize you were wrong, like maybe not like a whole lot wrong, but like a little bit wrong, and you're like, I can't believe I said that. No, that was what that person needed to hear in that moment in time. And so it's just stepping out on trust, where you're just like, I am going to put myself before you. I am going to speak to you about what I see and what I know. I am going to trust that what I am saying in this moment is what you need to hear right now. And anything I say, what you need to hear is going to be what you remember. And anything else is just going to fall away. So if you are not doing astrology, if you're not putting yourself out there with, a podcast, a blog, readings, anything that you like want to share but you're afraid to, I support you and I'm behind you. And even if you feel like you're not ready, that's a good indication that you are, because you understand the vastness and the complexity of astrology. And one thing that I think is so important to know is that we're all still learning. We're all still discovering. Things are still being translated out of ancient scripts that even like the best, the most renowned astrologers are still learning from them. And so if you go into it with that open mindset of just, I'm going to do my best and I'm going to be in front of you, and this is me showing up. This is me showing up for the opportunity to help somebody and make a difference. I hope you do. So that is my little pep talk. I hope some of you take me up on it. And if you have any questions, about how to get started, recommendations that I could offer, please shoot me an email. That's totally fine. I'm happy to offer free advice, no big deal. And I just hope you guys take me up on it, or at least start thinking about it. All right, take care.